Welcome everybody to the Watchlist right here on the Latiners Network, ready to talk about all the shows that got released on streaming, and as always to set you up with what's coming out next week so you can create your very own watch list. You want to know what to watch, get the recommendations. Check us out here every Sunday. Let me introduce my co-host who helps us along this journey, if you will, and that's live from Houston. Big bro himself is Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. Welcome, brother.
Hey, brother. Happy Sunday once again.
Happy Sunday and a big week of releases. A lot of
We
shows
got May
starting.
we got May the 4th this
We
week.
got May the
May the
4th, and
4th.
that's even a bigger week than this week. It's a monster week of releases, so we'll set you up with that because there's a lot of stuff getting dropped. Fortunately, my next Saturday is pretty clear. Girlfriend will be out and about, so I have plenty of time to just chill and catch up on all these shows, a lot of stuff. Fortunately, a few shows did end this week to help ease the burden,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and I actually want to talk about just the three shows that ended, just real briefly on this one, because we
Sure.
talked about them when they first come out, but sometimes we don't go back and
Mm-hmm.
revisit some of these. And did it end well? Is it still worth watching? The first one,
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo Vice.
Okay.
HBO Max, one where I think I was okay with. I wasn't loving it when it first came out. I think they dropped 3 episodes at the time. And pretty much feel the same way. I wasn't loving it. I think it was good, solid, ended okay. It did it just enough to kind of get me into another season if there is going to be one. But it's fun, it's a decent story. It just never reached any great heights on this. And Chewy, what say you?
No, I mean I feel the same way. I think it's good filler, but I don't think it's going to capture a very wide audience. It's very noirish,
Mhm.
90s cop drama, but uh, there's a lack of connection between the characters and the audience. And I think that's its biggest problem, right? If you want to be committed to a show, you want to care, whether it's the reporter, whether it's the cop, whether it's the Yakuza, whoever. You want to care about someone, even the woman, the main character, which, like I say, I could care less because I don't even remember her name. I just know who she is. I just don't know the name. So that's a
Fair
problem.
enough.
Like interesting premise, kind of peeling back down into that world, but there's got to be something compelling.
Yeah, and
And,
that
and,
was the
and at
big
the end of the
key. Yeah,
day,
you're right about that.
yes,
It wasn't something that just sucked you in and turns up the
it's
story. Yeah,
lacking.
something's
It's
missing
lacking.
there. Not a terrible show. Again, it's a
No.
medium recommend for me. Like I said, it's good filler. I heard a lot of people
Hmm.
were watching it, so we may get a season two. But
Okay, that's good.
fair enough. The second one, which I was much more high on, that's Slow Horses on Apple
Mm,
Plus.
mm,
The great Gary Oldman. It's like a spy thriller, if you will.
hmm.
This one started off really good. And I think it ended better. To be honest, I think the show got better as it went on, and this is a good recommend for me on Apple Plus.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a must. This was a great Apple Plus show, man. I mean, it had a story that you cared about that was relevant. It had good action. 6 episodes, so it's a
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
watch, right? 6 hours total, roughly give or take. But great cast. Exciting. Not because we're into that genre of show, right? The spy
Mm-hmm.
thriller, the MI6, CIA type of involvement and what's going on, but dealing with like domestic terrorism in a sense. But the group of characters are I guess, throwaway pieces as far as the MI5 is concerned, MI6. But it was so good, man, and the twist was great, and trying to one up each other, especially with Gary Oldman and I can't remember the other lady's character, the head of the program at MI5. So that was pretty good, man.
No, yeah, it's a really good show, and we're all gonna. I mean, they gave us scenes for season
And
two, so
that's
we're
oh
getting
yeah,
a
oh yeah,
second
yeah,
season
yeah.
apparently.
Yes, yeah, they were dropping the trailer for season two.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah.
good.
So yeah,
I will say, Randall Tarley, R.I.P. again.
what else is new?
Yeah, but that twist, I was like, I didn't see that
Yeah,
coming. I was like,
I knew
oh,
there was something up with that, but the review was like, okay, that's interesting.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a good show, a really good show. I enjoyed it a lot, and I didn't know it was 6 episodes. I'm like, oh wait, that's it, damn.
yeah, yeah.
So that's good. It left me wanting more. So yeah, I definitely high recommend on both parts from Apple Plus.
Hmm.
The third one was on AMC Plus. We talked about this briefly because it only gave us one episode the initial time when we reviewed it, and that Dirty Black Bag, spaghetti western style show at AMC, which I thought was solid, and I thought it was a little slow burn early, but once it picked up, once you really got to meet the story, I really enjoyed what we saw here. I really like this how this one ended up, Chewy.
No, man, I am a big fan of great westerns, of good westerns. I don't want crap westerns, and I think this served up a nice, great steak for me to enjoy.
Fair,
Right, a little steak and potatoes, not ribeye, but still, a nice New York strip, medium rare.
obviously.
But no, man, I mean, it was great action. I mean, traditional, western type action storylines. You have various factions involved. Obviously, you got the main characters are brothers in the story and the development there. And obviously, I don't want to spoil it, but
No,
I
no,
mean,
no, no spoilers.
I don't like what happened at the end of some of the characters. Right? I wish there was more.
I was surprised by what
But I'll
happened
leave
with
it at
one
that.
character in
Yes.
particular. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, didn't see that coming, which is good in a way.
Mhm.
But he was a cool character, so I get where you're coming from.
Yes.
But yeah, if you're
Hmm.
into westerns, really good show. I really enjoyed this one. Good
Hmm.
job on AMC. I don't know if it's season 2 or not. That remains to be seen.
I mean, they left it open.
It's open for a
We'll
season
see.
2, whether it gets
Hmm.
greenlit. You know,
We'll see.
hopefully we'll find out. 'Cause I would like to see another season of this, see where they go. But that was
Hmm.
a good show. So those three are ones that if you haven't, looking for something to watch, haven't catched up on some of these shows, caught up with the shows, go back and watch some of these. Are pretty good.
Yeah.
This week was an interesting week. Let's start with a movie. We always go to the movies first. We had one film that dropped. That was The Survivor,
Hmm.
starring a Ben Foster, a transformed physically Ben Foster. Kudos
Hmm.
for him on that. Came out early this week. A story about a true story about a Holocaust survivor who was in Auschwitz, escaped during his time in Auschwitz. He was forced to, he had choice: either you can go with the rest of the pack, or get some bit of treatment by becoming a fighter and boxer and fighting other Jews. Right, the loser of the fight will inevitably be killed. So once he escapes, he uses that skill in his, when his real life he becomes a boxer and he's looking for someone, this lost love who he was separated with when they were sent away. And there we go. So good story. I mean, I'm a sucker for anything Holocaust, World War II related. Like a good story. And I hadn't heard this one before. This guy ultimately got the chance to fight Rocky Marciano, and he used his story to kind of elevate himself, put himself in the public eye to gain his attention, so we can get a fight with him and all that. Because he did it all not because of the fighting or the glory. This isn't a sports film. Don't get me wrong. But it's more to get the attention of the woman who he's looking for. Perhaps she could read her name in the paper and
If she's still alive,
right,
right? The
yeah,
woman
he
doesn't
obviously
know.
doesn't know where she's at, so maybe he believes she's alive, and so he's doing what he can to find her. So it's a good story. But Ben Foster's great in this, and it's a picture here. I mean, look at the weight he's lost. It's crazy. We've seen other actors do that, and then he
Hmm.
gains weight later for this. Obviously when it's current time when he's an actual boxer, he's got to be have that physique. Good story. Like I said, it wasn't a great film, but it was a good, well made, interesting story. Slow pace, but well done. I like what was going on. It's a difficult film to watch for obvious reasons. True, what say you?
No, I agree. I mean, my only gripe is that it's very slow
Mm-hmm.
paced, and obviously, I don't mind slow paced TV because I know there's a payoff, and it's a slow paced movie, and you sit through 2 hours. It could be problematic,
No,
but I get it. Interesting watch, interesting story, interesting character, and yeah, I mean, if you have time, watch it. If you don't, I mean,
yeah. If you
like I said, I will. If I won't fault you if you decide to
no,
pause.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's worth a
exactly. I'm
watch.
not saying this is all my, there's an Oscar contending. It's not, but it's good. It's well made. It's fine. If you're into the subject matter, I am. So I'm always looking out for these kind of things, maybe documentaries or
Mm-hmm.
movies of this sort. But yeah, interesting stories. Again, this is one that I haven't heard of before. I believe most people probably haven't heard of before.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The next one, a show we were really looking forward to, and that's Barry. HBO season 3 and HBO Max. I love
You're a
Barry,
hater.
Bill Hader, who's actually the straight role here, right? For his comedic talents, he's really not the comedic portion of the show, which makes him more interesting. It's again a whole new respect for Bill Hader. I think he's really good, and he's a very dark character, very troubled character. He's a hitman who wants to get out of the business and pursues acting. And of course, he's forced back into the business at the same time. You can never get out. How that goes. Henry Winkler's in this, was really good as a Fonzie, of course. Only one
No,
episode
the other
dropped.
guy, the other guy from the Office. What's his name?
Oh,
Um, Another comedian.
I forget his name too.
He's made so many shows, but I know him from the Office, right?
Yeah, he's done
The
a bunch of
Staples
stuff. Yeah,
guy.
so there's a lot of talent here. A lot of talent here. I forgot the name of the bald guy character who's one of the, I guess, bumbling kind of
He's great. No ha,
gangsters.
ho ha.
He's amazing,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing in this show. He's so good. But so season 3 is a show, if you haven't seen it, you have to go back. This is a must watch for me in terms of good comedies on HBO. It's only 30 minutes, so it's an easy watch. I think 8 episodes, maybe 10. I don't know. But they only gave us one here.
Hey,
A good start, for what it was. On this, it was a great episode. It was a good start. We know where, okay, now we know where we're heading with this, and I'm sure the show's going to get better as it does. But yeah, like I said, I'm such a fan of this show, Chewy.
no, man, I love this show, man. Not because it's short, but it's interesting. It takes something that's not comedic, a hitman
Right.
trying to get out, and puts it into a comedic element, right? There's some serious things going
Of course.
on,
It's a
murders and
dark
killing
comedy.
and
Let's
stuff.
rephrase it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But it's very fun. I mean, like the is it Slovenian? Is it Hungarian? Bulgarian? I don't
I
know
forget maybe
what
Polish.
faction
I
it
don't know. But
is.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's Polish, but whatever. But that voice, he does. It's such a unique voice. I just can't get out of my head because it's so funny, right? He tries to be serious, but the voice just said, "No, this is comedy. This is comedy gold." And obviously now he has a relationship with the guy that they were fighting with, was it the Mexican cartel, whoever. Funny enough, that guy, that's one of the actors from Sense, from Mayans, by the way. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I recognize it from there. But it's just so odd and so unique. And Bill Hader's character, his juxtaposition of trying to get in, but he wants to get back in because he needs to make money. He's trying to find something with his life, but it's just like all over the road. And obviously, we get the cops involved, and it's just like,
Yeah,
it's such a
yeah,
great watch,
it's
man. It's
really well written show, very sharp. I mean, yeah, and Bill is great. And again, it's to see him do a role because he's good in his comedic roles to go on the opposite scale because he's the least funniest part about the show, oddly enough, purposefully though, obviously. It's good and he's really good. So this is a show. This is a must watch for me. It has been since it started back a few
Sunday
years ago.
nights, HBO Max. So
Absolutely, yeah.
HBO.
So hopefully it'll continue. I'm sure it will. I have utmost confidence in the show. The next one, this is another one, HBO. This is all HBO all the time here, and that's The Baby. This new comedy horror, as it was billed at. This one I was looking forward to because I love comedy and I love horror. I know you're not a big horror fan, Chewy, but you do like your comedy. Did you see this before I get any further or no? Out of curiosity.
I saw one
Okay.
episode, yes.
Well, they dropped one episode, right? So we have a woman who, her friends are pregnant and she's like anti that. She wants to live her life and, that freedom, quote unquote. And then one day she's vacationing on her own, and then literally a baby falls in her arms, right? After its mom or guardian, whomever, fell off a cliff. Okay, so there's a setup, right? And she's like, "What the hell's going on here?"
Well, no, she jumped. She jumped.
Well, she
off.
jumped off.
She
I
didn't fall
rephrased,
off.
right? She purposely jumped off the cliff, and the
Yes.
baby followed. But she ended up catching the baby, and she's trying to find a way to give the kid back to the authorities, and everyone who's around the surroundings ends up dying. So there's some connection with the baby and the death is whether it be some guy that.
But the deaths are just ridiculously. I mean, this isn't like coincidence. Like, for example, the two cops that come in to find out because at the very opening scene, there's two police officers chasing this lady and trying to stop her from killing herself. Right? She jumped. They can't save her, but then they see the baby and they make a beeline to save the baby, and they don't. And then we see them come in where they're down below the cliffs with her. They take the baby, and the next thing you know, a big ass boulder falls on the car, kills the cops. The baby's okay. You're like, what the?
Yeah, something's going on here on this one, and yeah, so that's about the reveal, right? And well, she actually gets.
It's like the movie. It's like the old movie Omen, right, from the
Yes.
'70s, right, where you had the death of Satan's baby, and and this like the Satan's protecting his child, kill everyone who's gonna even come anywhere near him. It's like, but in a comedic sense. So like, what the F?
Yes, yeah, and then she tries to give the baby up and ends up back in a doorstep at the end of the show, right in the first episode. And I'm not gonna spoil it, but so obviously there's connection. The baby likes her, or whatever, right? That's basically all we're given now.
It is a cute baby.
I love the premise,
His face is like,
but a couple of problems, and it's early, is that there's no comedy in here. Which I could see the potential of good comedy here, but there's no horror either. So I was like, okay, you're building us two things and not giving us either one. The story's interesting. I mean, it's hard to do comedy and horror. It really is. You have to lean on one heavily. You really do. You can't do half and half. We've seen things like Scream, right? It's a horror film, but it's got a lot of comedic elements. Or Shaun of the Dead, lean heavily on comedy with some horror elements. The show needs to hopefully find its way one of the two ways. I think with the comedic work with the baby and these deaths, you can really go over the top with that and have that be interesting. It's enough there for me to keep watching. Because I want to see if it does succeed, has potential. I hope it does, Chewy.
We'll see. It's only one episode. So
It's one episode.
Well set up.
Right. So I'll recommend it for now. But, it's one where let's see how the next couple go and see if
Buyer
yes, a
beware.
buy everywhere.
Buyer
Yeah, check
beware.
it. I mean, like I said, I'm a horror guy, so I would recommend it because this potential is there to be something really cool and interesting with this premise. I want to see interesting new stuff, and this is something that's giving us that. Just do it well, so I'm asking for it. But let's see. Like I said, it's early on for that one. The last one, HBO Max. Again, we have We Own This City, the newest show by
Mm-hmm.
those who brought you The Wire way back in the day, which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the best shows of all time. It's a fantastic show, again on HBO. So this one here, so takes place in the '90s, right? Am I wrong in that?
No, no, no,
No.
no, no. This is placed at circa
Oh, I'm sorry.
2017,
No, right. Yeah, I'm thinking of another show.
with the advent
Yes.
of the Freddie Gray
Yes.
uh, murder, homicide, accident,
Right.
whatever you want to call
Baltimore.
it,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
and the creation of this gun task force, right? So this takes place across 2015, 2019. A lot of flash forwards, flashbacks, but that's the that. So it's contemporary,
Right. Yeah. I was
right?
thinking about another show we're talking about later.
Yeah.
But right. So yeah, John Barenthal, the Punisher, is one of the leads in here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it kind of flashes
Mm-hmm.
back between different times and first episode it bounces a lot. You kind of get a feel of what's going on with the show, but by the end you're like, okay, kind of brings it all together. But it's well done. I enjoyed it. I mean, again, I'm not jumping up and down for it. It's only one episode, but it has a lot of potential. I like John Barenthal and it looks interesting. Okay, let's see where the show goes. But for me, I'm definitely recommending it for like a good cop procedural. This is not The Wire. Let's just get that straight out of the way.
No, no, because The Wire was a story told from perspective of diverse elements within the city of Baltimore and the
Right.
state of Maryland, with dealing with the police force, but more of the drug problem, or the outcome of the drug
Right.
problem, right? And so it was between the main drug dealers, the task force trying to track them down, and the various elements surrounding it, the press, the politicians, the ports, kind of all working together, not working together, but it was all intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
Where dealing with the broad problem is not a simple broad stroke solution. It's very nuanced because it didn't happen overnight, and you can't get rid of it by one quick solution. And so this kind of takes the perspective of trying to apply again a simple solution to address a problem, where the problem is not a simple one that you can just solve easily. And when you try to engage, that kind of social justice and aspect, right? This arose because something happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? The police brutality. It's called what it is.
Right.
Police
Yeah. Of course.
brutality, right?
Profiling,
Right.
brutality.
Regardless,
Mm-hmm.
regardless if you're guilty or not, right? There's still some inalienable human rights,
Sure.
right? Whether you're guilty, put in jail, stay in jail, or see life, or get that thing, whatever, right? But no man is judge, jury, and execution, and should have that power for a reason. And so when an organization engages in that type of behavior and this happens and they let it slide year after year after year, and then you try to solve the problem by creating this task force that's targeted to addressing murders, but then they rooted the problem. Then this is what this is trying to show,
Yeah.
right? And they do it very well because in the very first episodes between the flashbacks, it's like they try to implement this program, but the mayor who's trying to do it says, "Hey, I'm not going for re-election, so
Right.
I'm out."
Exactly.
We're
Yeah.
like, so like, well, what the hell? And so there's various elements: the DOJ, the lawyers, the criminals, and there's even one scene where there's a couple of individuals who, I thought they were just thieves, right? Dealing
Oh,
drugs.
right.
And
Right.
you
Yeah.
come on, these are police officers. I was like, holy shit, man, what the f is going on here? So it just goes to levels of when corruption goes unchecked. What is the net result? And this is what this show is trying to show. Because obviously, this is historical. These are
Right.
real people. These
Right.
are real characters. These are real events. Dramatized, obviously, for TV, but the broad strokes are there as far as the people that were
Of
involved
course.
and what actually
Right,
happens.
and like I said, this has potential to be a really, really good show. I mean, it's only one episode so
Mm-hmm.
far, so I have to see two or three to get a good gauge where we're going. But so
Mm-hmm.
far, thumbs up. I definitely recommend this one. This is on Monday nights, dropping
Yeah, limited
dropping
series.
weekly. Yeah, limited series dropping weekly on that one. So recommend on both parts. The next one on Paramount Plus, an unusual non-Star Trek show, as I always like to mention. That's The Offer, based true accounts, of that is Rudder, the producer's name, I forget, who
Yeah.
produced, got started in his first big film producing was The Godfather. It's one of the greatest films of all
Mm-hmm.
time. I want to go back and watch The Godfather. It gave me the itch to watch it again. So yeah, how he became, got into the business. I think he was some kind of a computer programmer at the time.
Yeah, we work a government contractor,
Right.
working on some program, whatever. But yeah, it's strange beginnings, right? To go from that to all of a sudden be thrust into the TV movie industry,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And he did
I
TV
think
first. Yeah.
his first show was Hogan's
Yeah.
Heroes.
Which was a
Uh,
successful show back in the day, back in the 60s. Yeah.
yeah, way back, yeah, late
Yeah.
'60s, yeah. So again, taking a subject matter that it wasn't funny, especially not as the closer you are to the event, it's less funny than
Right.
if you
Because
can go back
about that
50
World War
years
II
later.
and Nazis and all that. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah.
an account.
There was some
Yeah,
trepidation with the
so
show for good reason, but they made it work. And
we,
yeah.
even when talking about it, it's like how the hell did
Yeah, you think
they
of
make
a
comedy from
comedy about
that? But
Nazis,
whatever.
but obviously it worked,
Yeah,
and it was a popular show in its day.
yeah.
But yeah, he moved on to
Mhm.
want to do bigger. They got The Godfather, and he goes, kind of chronicling the events behind, getting the studio behind them, the script, the writer Mario Puzo, I guess his name, who of
Yes,
course wrote
yes.
the novel, which is very successful, and getting Francis
Mhm.
Ford Coppola, and then you have the real mafia doesn't want this movie to be made because it makes him look bad, and yada yada yada.
And you kind of forget that aspect.
Yeah,
Kind of looking at it, there's dropped 3 episodes, but just looking at that, it just makes me laugh, right? Because
the nerve.
yeah, yes,
The mafia
thank you.
doesn't
The
want to look
nerve
bad.
of yeah, no, but it's all with it's us against the Italians,
Right.
right? It's like there was some sort of conspiracy against Italian Americans or Italians in this
Hmm.
country. I'm like, uh, what? Excuse me? I mean, granted, at one time, with most immigrants that come into the country, all immigrants are viewed in that light,
Sure.
right? But then there's assimilation and acceptance, and they look like us, and so you kind of forget that they're Italians. And it happened with the Germans, it happens with the Irish, with all predominantly white immigrants, it happens, right? They're picked on, and then they're assimilated, and they're indoctrinated into part of the gang, right? They're the man,
Right.
right? And for them at this time, because they're fighting a stigma that it was true.
Right.
They were the
That's what I'm
mob.
saying. If you
You're
say,
trying to say the mafia doesn't exist. Wink,
I mean,
wink.
if it
You
was like
know?
the other normal citizens of the Italian variety complaining, okay, I
Yes.
get that. I'm sure there were some of that. Don't get me wrong, but it was
Yeah.
spearheaded by the mafia, right? They had, I think,
Yeah.
Ribisi, what's his first name?
Uh, uh,
I forgot his name. Giovanni
Giovanni
Ribisi, who
Ribisi.
plays, I guess,
He plays
one of
one
the
of
main
the
bosses, family
capos.
boss, or
Yeah.
whatever. He's the one
Hmm.
that's kind of leading the charge. We got Miles Teller playing the
Hmm.
producer,
Hmm.
and listen, I gotta say, listen, it's all fluff. The show's pure fluff, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it reminded me a little bit of Winning Time, which I'm really enjoying, right? It's just kind of over the top. These characters are taken, I'm sure, were for dramatization purposes, kind of characterized. They were like caricatures. I'm sure there were people involved, but it's fun. I'm actually very entertained. It's got a really good pace behind it.
But the broad stroke of events which makes it interesting, right? The fighting for. I mean, you think you see it now. It's like, how could this may not be a slam dunk, man? I mean,
Of
and
course.
then you think about that fighting about because the main guy at Paramount. Yeah, they say Pacino's like, no, I want A list. I don't want this Pacino clown. Get out of.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They seem
okay,
to be on board
and
with
talking about
Marlon
getting.
Brando, of course,
Yeah,
obviously, but he was a big name back
yeah.
then. So yeah,
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, he was the A-list at the
yeah,
time, but Pacino was a nobody,
yeah. They
right?
wanted
This is
Robert
this is this is
Redford, or
Pacino.
yeah,
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood, whoever.
yeah.
Those names keep mentioning, the names of
And
that
it's
time.
funny that, yeah, they dropped James
James
Caan. It was
Caan,
like he
yeah,
ended up being in the movie.
right.
So, but
Sonny, yeah,
lo and behold, yeah, Sonny Corleone. But I mean, also they showed the involvement of Frank Sinatra, who I forget was is Italian
yeah.
heritage, and he was dead set against it because he was the word that made him look
Well,
bad. I'm
Johnny
like,
Fontaine, if those who know the movie,
yes,
it's the character
yeah.
based off, Frank Sinatra, a famous lounge
Hmm.
singer in Vegas, and yada yada yada. So he took offense to that. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I heard it's 10 episodes, which seems a bit long. It's my only complaints. Like I don't think we need 10 episodes to tell this story, but nonetheless, for me, I find it very entertaining. What about you, Joey?
No, I mean, so far so good. I'm enjoying it.
Miles Teller's great.
I
Yeah,
love Marcelo, yeah, but I love the guy who plays Francis Ford Coppola.
yeah, yeah,
He's been. I first saw him in an old movie called Fanboys,
yeah, yeah.
which was if you know
He's
about
done
it,
a bunch of comedies.
a trip. Yeah, it was a dying friend, and they were trying to get into Skywalker Ranch to see at that time. It was the Phantom Menace, sorry, but
Jeez, all that effort
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
Different
But it was
subject, different
actually
day.
very funny, very cult movie. Yeah, but he's been in Walking Dead and some things, and I really enjoyed his portrayal of that actor. This was before he became Francis Ford Coppola.
Right,
All these
he was in
people were
exactly.
became
He's the early stages.
yes,
Dan Fogler is the actor.
yes,
Comedic.
thank
We
you,
have
thank
Colin
you.
Hanks in it as well. It's a good cast all around. But yeah, very good. Matthew Goody, I forget his name, plays the Paramount producer and whatever. But it's a good show,
Yes,
entertaining show.
yes.
Again, it's fluff. It's not very deep, and that's fine. It's again, it reminds me of Winning Time. Winning Time's a little bit better, but still a very cool show. I'm enjoying it, so I'm looking forward to this one. I recommend it. Hulu.
It's forcing me to hold on to Paramount until it's over.
Basically, yeah. Picard's ending soon, whatever. We still got Halo,
Yeah.
which I'm kind of liking Halo.
Oh, I take that
Yeah.
back. Yes, yeah, okay.
But either way, so Hulu, the next one, FX Hulu, whatever. We got Andrew Garfield, who I really, really like, starring in this police procedural, which takes place I think this is the one that takes place in the 90s, no? Or in the 80s, or late 80s,
Uh,
early 90s.
Probably sometime in the 90s in Utah.
Right, and yeah,
Right, so
Utah.
it's dealing with Latter-day Saints and Mormons and
Yeah, it's
that
like a Mormon community.
religious
Yeah,
sect.
Garfield's a
Yes.
detective. He's a devout Mormon, of course, and one of the large families in the area. They, I guess one of the wives and their 15-month-old baby were murdered, are brutally murdered. Obviously, the husband is the first one they go to, which is usually most half the time is reality. And then they start, uncovering there's more behind it, potential conspiracies and all that. A lot of religious undertones to the film, obviously, it's having to spirituality. Um,
Hmm.
it's in a vein for me. It's similar, not does not get twisted. I'm not saying is it anywhere near as good, but it's similar to the first season of True Detective, which is very exposition heavy, a lot of dialogue heavy, very dark tone, very methodical in its approach. Just not as interesting or as good. For me, it's solid. I wasn't loving the show, but it gave me enough to say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna keep watching. Garfield kind of carries this a lot. True, what do you think?
I probably feel the same way. Whoops, sorry, I have
Oh,
technical issues
there
here.
are issues there.
I'm losing my connection to everything here. Yeah, I probably feel the same way. Um, okay, it's okay, right? It's a very slow
Very
pace.
slow pace. Yeah.
Um, and so
Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I've seen 2 episodes, but I'm not sure if I can recommend it yet. I just don't know.
it's a slight recommend for me. Like I said, I want to obviously keep watching it. It did just enough to okay. Let me see where this is going.
Mhm.
It's not a bad show. It's a matter of tastes. This won't be for everybody.
Yeah.
Especially with this kind of police procedurals, you want a little more umph to it. This one kind of lacks that. The whole
Mhm.
religious aspect of it, I can see how that turning some people off. Depends on who you are. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Like I said, there's so many shows coming out, I probably wouldn't recommend it just for that reason because there's so much shit coming out. Next week is packed, and
Mhm.
shows that just ended. We talked about whether it be Tokyo Vice or that Dirty Black Bag, Slow Horses, all better than this show by far. So there's
Mhm.
stuff out there
Mhm.
that I would recommend you watch instead of this. But if you are gonna
Yeah.
watch it, have interest in it, it's okay. The
Yeah.
last one, Apple Plus. Apple Plus, I always get excited. Apple Plus. I know they had a little speed bump with Roar, right? Okay, they got the shit out there. Look,
It's okay. It
it
happens.
happens,
No one bats a
around the road of
thousand.
success. A little speed bump slows you down, but you can gain
Hey,
speed again.
nobody bats 500 for that
Exactly,
matter.
it happens. So it is what it is. So the last one here is Shining Girls, new show, new thriller, mystery thriller. Um,
Elizabeth Moss
Elizabeth
of
Moss,
Handmaid's Tale fame.
exactly, yeah, she was actually in The Invisible Man, which I kind of liked,
Oh,
from
that's
Blumhouse,
correct.
yeah.
That's correct. Yeah.
So she's
Hmm.
getting a lot of play. So yeah, this one here we have a girl. She Elizabeth Moss character. She works for a newspaper on low end. She's a low end employee, in the mailroom or something like that, whatever it is. And
Researcher, file clerk,
yeah,
whatever.
whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Yeah, and then she was a victim of physical abuse, or she was assaulted. Anyway, she was cut up, something left inside her, left for dead. She survived, and now she's trying to use this platform especially with journalism, to figure out, okay, who did it, right? And there's other girls who they discover have the same MO as far as how they died. So she's trying to put the pieces
Mhm.
together and figure out, okay, who is her killer. But the thing here is just some time element, which
This is very, very interesting show.
exactly, and I love that
I
element
I
where
am.
it's either her or the killer who's somehow traveling through time to some degree. And
That's still unclear. I've only seen 2 episodes. I haven't
I,
seen
I
third
saw
one,
the
so it's
three.
a little
I saw the
unclear.
three. Right, I
Okay.
saw the three, and it's still kind of. I think they do shed more light in it, a little more.
Okay.
But that's what I like about it, right? Then this isn't just all about time travel. There's an element there that
No.
really it's fascinating. It's like, okay, how's
Yes,
this
there's a
coming
sci-fi
together?
element to it.
Yeah, and like, okay,
Right.
and they give it to almost remind me of Severance, where they didn't just give it to you all at once, and little by little reveals what's going on. You're like, okay, this is really fascinating. I mean, I love time
Yeah,
travel,
like in the
yeah,
first episode.
go ahead.
Yeah, in the first episode, they portray her as obviously, she's still dealing with the trauma,
Right,
right? And so she's very introverted, but borderline. She displays artistic tendencies, right? Where everything has to be in, like she gets her desk and everything's going to be perfect and this. But then you start looking at the clues and you start noticing, as things happen, things are changing, and you're not sure at first. It's like, is it her mind? She's going crazy, and
right.
she's just not all there, or is something really causing her where the world around her is literally changing on a dime, as events are progressing. And as you progress in the second episode, it starts to get more apparent. In the second episode, I think it's pretty clear this guy has somehow is able to traverse different time uh, moments in time,
Right, and he,
right? Where maybe because I'm not sure if he's physically traveling or he sees it. I know it's going to happen, and but the very opening shot, we see this gentleman walking this girl. I think pedophile, right? Because he's talking to this little
yeah,
girl, a little oddly, right? A little too close, right? Too close to my comfort. But and this is 1964. Then we jump to 92, right? And they're talking about these cases, and they start showing a little bit. Yeah, I thought were flashbacks, but I come to realize no, they're not. Right? We go back to 90, we go back to some other times, and you start seeing the clues being laid out for you. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm
oh
loving this. This
yeah,
is not your unique,
I'm all over this
yeah,
show, all over this
crime
show,
drama.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's in the third episode. It's even if you weren't still on the fence, it's clear there's an opening scene, and then there is the opening scene from that's a different perspective, I guess, or how the scene came about. And yeah, there's definitely it's out of sequence, right?
Mm.
There's just again, you're right. We don't know how
But
he's
and the
doing it. We don't
changes
know how he's doing it.
and what yeah, we don't know if what he's doing is causing her history, her story to change or not. Because at first she lives with her mom. Then when next time she goes to work, she has a different desk. Next time she goes home, she's married to one of the guys who was there. Mom lives somewhere else.
Right.
Next time she lives in a different apartment. So like, what the hell is going on?
Right, and I know that's her. At first, I thought she was jumping back, and she's so I was confused. I
Yeah.
was like, which is cool. I like that they're not just spoon feeding you, and it's not in your face, right? They're still relying on the mystery, but giving it such an interesting element. I love that element, and I'm hoping the time thing makes sense. That's something that concerns me, right? Because with time, you can really fuck things up, and things don't make sense. So how can you do that if he's doing it? So actually, when the explanation comes, that will shed some light in that. But dude, fascinating show. It's got the fake Pedro Pascal's in this.
I was
Yeah,
just gonna say we have Pablo Escobar front and center, a little slimmed down version,
yeah,
working again. I'm like, man, good for
yeah.
you,
He
good
reminds
for
me. I
you.
just thought
I,
he's like Pedro Pascal. Like if that was his brother, I'd be like, oh yeah, he just looks like the same look, the same kind of hair he had. It's like, damn, that's not him. But yeah, he's the journalist who helps her. Like she reveals what happened to her, and he's trying to figure out as well of all these murders that keep popping up and how they're related. Dude, good show. I mean, I'm really liking the show. I really hope it does well. And they show more of the villain and how he's. It's clear he can almost not see the future, but he's talking. This is a quick example, not a spoiler. I think Chew, you've seen this already, where he's talking to some girl on the phone in a house, and he's saying, "Oh, look, I hear," or "Oh, don't worry about stepping on that. She stepped on something after the fact." So he knows what's
Now you
going
hear
on.
it's like, no. He said, no, I'll be there tomorrow. But he's like talking in a tense, like he's been there
Right, and
already.
he knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's obviously something's going on there. But yeah, I'm kind of curious how he's pulling this off. And there's a big, fascinating review in that third episode. Like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
very
I'm gonna
cool.
go
Yeah,
watch right
it's
now. Go
very
back.
cool show. Like I said, give me something unique and different, right? Yeah, we've seen police procedurals and this kind of murder mystery. Now you're adding a time element. Fantastic. That's what I'm talking. That's the kind of shit I want to see, right? These other shows like under under the thing of heaven. It's typical. Even We Own the City. We've seen this kind of thing before. It's well done. But we've seen this kind of stuff before. This is something unique, taking two kind of genres and kind of melding them together. Really enjoying it. Really, this is one that could go really bad, depending on the logic, the choices that are made with time travel. Or can be just an absolute masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, highly recommend you guys jump on the show. They drop 3 episodes and will drop Fridays thereafter. Yeah, big recommend. This is potential must watch as far as I'm concerned. And hopefully it stays that way. So yeah, so that's the
A
yeah,
plus.
that's the week. That's a big week this week. Next week, Jesus Christ.
Well, we forgot about Ozark.
Well, the
No,
Ozark we would have talked. That came out. We're gonna talk about that
at
when it
the end.
ends. When
Okay, that's
yeah,
coming at
because
the end.
this is
Okay,
just the
okay.
last season. Doesn't matter how it starts. See how it ends, right? How it all comes together. So we'll do Ozark next week because I'll be done with Ozark by then. I would assume. I think 7 episodes anyway, but it's off to a really good
Yeah.
start, like a surprising start. So I'll put my
Mm-hmm.
2 cents in there real quick. Next week, goddamn, next week is big. Things are gonna fall through the cracks next week. I got a feeling, but let's start first. On the 4th, which is a Wednesday, so it gives me time to catch up on my Sunday shows. Until then, we got Meltdown, 3 Mile Island, a documentary on Netflix. Netflix really does well with documentaries, obviously about 3 Mile Island, the historical accounts of the nuclear situation back then.
In the 70s,
Yeah, the
yes.
70s, yeah. So,
80s?
Oh,
Was it
70s or
70s or
80s?
80s? I can't remember.
It was a long time
I think
ago.
it was early 80s, 82,
Yeah, when
83. I
gas was
think
like
it
under a
was, yeah.
dollar at some point. God, I miss those
Well, for
days.
some of the guys, lots of times in the year, over the
Well,
years,
fair
so
enough. Wait,
whatever.
it's been a while. But wait, so it's yeah, whatever, 70s, 80s. But it looks interesting. So that I think it's a limited docu series on that coming on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
On the 5th, a couple shows. First one on HBO Max, who's been doing pretty good lately. The Staircase. Colin
Mm-hmm.
Firth, who's great. Toni Collette, who's great. We just saw her in her show on Netflix. I forgot the name of the show. Jesus. Either way, the one she's
The mom,
the
yeah,
mom. Yeah,
with
God, I
the
forgot the name
yeah.
of that show. Is it these?
But she was a spy more,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she
decent
worked
show.
to
I enjoy the show. I don't know.
yeah, back in the
I
60s.
can't think of the name of it, but it doesn't matter. By the way, they're starring this together. All the notables are in here, but yeah, this is a true, well, based on a true story, which we saw a documentary
Yeah,
on Netflix. Coincidentally enough,
that's correct.
about I
Mm-hmm.
guess the Colin Firth plays an author who's a known author at the time, whose wife
Mm-hmm.
was found at the end of the stairs dead, and the clues led to potentially him being the murderer. The trial comes and he gets convicted, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
But there's
correct.
still questions about his innocence, right? Whether his guilt, is he guilty or not? So really interesting story. So seeing a movie, okay, on HBO with this talent, I'm all over it. So that's on the 5th. Also on the 5th, Clark. This is on Netflix. This is not an. Is this? I think it's. I don't know if it's an English show. Or is it this subtitle? I don't remember. To be honest with
No, I think it's in, well, I mean, a British show, you
you, is
mean,
it
right?
British?
Or
I forget.
I believe
Okay.
so.
Either
Yeah, I
way,
think
Bill
so.
Skarsgård is the lead on this
The
one.
king, the King's English.
The King's English. Speaking of Colin Firth. But yeah, Bill Skarsgård plays the main character. It's basically a true story about a criminal, a bank robber who, I guess.
Well, no, well, this is where we get the I guess the creation or I don't know if the creation is the right word, but you're talking about Stockholm syndrome,
Right. For
right?
those who remember Money
And
Heist, Stockholm.
yeah,
Um,
there you go, there you go. So it's this theory. Well, I don't know if this theory is proven true or not, but basically, when you're taken hostage, and under certain conditions, you start relating with the hostage takers,
right.
and maybe take empathy, and maybe start taking their side. So this is where this whole
Right.
psychology around Stockholm syndrome arose. I think this is the precipice of that
Right. So, and this guy
area.
who became kind of a hero, sort of speak, amongst the
Mhm.
people and all that. And so, interesting story. So, I'm looking forward to this one. That's on Netflix.
Mhm.
On Friday, we got a bunch of stuff loading up next Friday. IMDb. That's the first time I think we mentioned that on this show. Maybe the last
You
time.
say IMDb, it's still Amazon Prime. I don't care, dude.
Well, it's still it's separate IMDb thing. Whatever.
Yes, yes.
Tomatoes. We got Bosch Legacy, the spinoff, of course, of Bosch. I had a 7 year run on Amazon Prime. Really good show. Good
Mm-hmm.
police procedure show. I really enjoyed it. I'm not looking forward to this, to be honest with you. I don't know if I want to see more of this. To be honest, I don't know. And this is one I made.
Okay.
This may for me fall through the cracks. I know you're gonna watch it, so at least get your
No,
opinion
all
on it.
right.
I'm not sure yet, but yeah, Bosch Legacy. If you're familiar with Bosch, I guess you should watch it. But if you're not familiar with Bosch, go watch Bosch first. I would say. Um, on Amazon Prime, I think has all 7 seasons.
Correct.
On the 6th, again Friday, we got The Wild season 2 on Amazon Prime. Wasn't a fan of the first one that much. Chewy, I think you were.
I
Yeah,
was, yeah.
so that is
A little
teenagers like
cross of Lord of the Flies,
yeah,
but
yeah, and on islands.
it's not. It's not.
Well,
It's not. This
I
is.
can, I can tell that for sure. That's not. But
No, no. You initially see it being Lord of the Flies, but it's not because spoilers. This was all staged
right, right,
for these individuals on purpose by a by something, some agency, and we're still not sure on sort of what the true purpose of this is. But this is the continuation of that, and so now it brings in where one plane was all girls. Now it's the opposite sex going through the same same location, and how it's interacted with
Right.
the original characters, I'm not sure. But yeah,
Right. So season
I
yeah,
enjoyed it.
season two
I
is
really
coming
enjoyed
out.
it.
So if you guys weren't aware of it, now you are. On Netflix, we got something called The Sound of Magic. This is a K drama, if you will, which looks
Mm-hmm.
interesting and unique. This is what caught my attention, right? I'm like, I want to see something different. Give me something different. This looks like a fantasy kind of show, but I guess
Mm-hmm.
it's like a girl who's had a bad time in her life and whatever, and she ends up in this. I don't know if it's a band amusement park, but whatever. There's a magician that resides there, and his relationship they strike, and it was like it's part musical. I think I'm not sure. It looks very fantastical. Its elements very family friendly. I'm interested in this one. Give me something different. Why not? It looks cool. I'll watch it. A lot of the Korean stuff ends up being pretty good to begin with. Continue on, I guess, on Friday. Jesus Christ, it's a packed week. Apple Plus. That gets me excited, and that's The Big Con. This is a documentary though.
Limited docu
The docu
series,
series.
yes.
I think The Meltdown's a movie. Either way, it doesn't matter.
No,
Um,
no, the Meltdown's a documentary as
okay,
well.
okay. So yeah, Big Con. Obviously, this is I think people who made the one with the McDonald's scam. I believe did.
Oh, with the lottery one, yes,
Yeah,
with the mob.
yeah.
Speaking of the
Which is a
mob,
fascinating
wink, wink.
documentary. Yeah, The Big Con here. So what this one's about? What this one's about? I forget now. I can't remember.
So this was, I think,
I'm trying to remember what The Big
geez, it
Con.
involved the government. It involved the
Oh yes,
government and some
yes.
sort of
Someone who
scam.
scammed. I think it was a yeah. I'll look it up now. Who scammed billions of dollars with the scam.
Yes, billion. Yeah, yeah, not
Yeah.
millions, billions from the government. Um, but
Okay,
I
yeah, it
don't
was
know
an
much.
attorney who defrauded the government and taxpayers for over $500 million. It was a Social Security fraud case, a scam.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
interesting. So I love the the McDonald's one played out. So I'm interested. It's Apple Plus. Apple Plus
Mm-hmm.
again. I probably won't be watching this show. I didn't see the first season. It's just too much stuff to watch for me to catch up, and that's I'm sure you did.
Oh, I caught
Yeah,
up
was
around
Tehran, if I'm saying it right?
yeah, Tehran, yeah, season
Season
three,
season
yes,
three.
yeah, yes, this is
Oh,
season
that was
three,
season.
yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely won't go back and watch it. But again, for those, might touch base on the next week. But if you're a fan of the show, it's coming out this
Mm-hmm.
Friday. Another one on
Mm-hmm.
Friday. There's two more. Jesus. That's Michael Myers has come back. Called
Oh,
the Penta Verate. That's what it's called. It's a comedy. I use that term loosely because the trailer was not good. But
and this is one that's gonna fall through my cracks.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give it a
Go
shot. I
ahead.
think it's 30-minute shows. I love Mike Myers, and maybe it's his comeback. Or I'm on a very short leash on this one though.
Hey, yes, because
A
we
very
were burnt already with Steve Carell
I
on
know, I
Space Force.
agreed, but it's very short leash. I usually get 3 episodes. I'm giving 15 minutes. That's what I'm gonna give this show. Either you hit me in 15 minutes, or I'm out. It doesn't look good, but again, whatever. Let's find out. That's a comment. So I guess he plays a journalist and trying to uncover this kind of
Mm-hmm.
Illuminati-esque organization that's running the world. Of course. So let's see. And the next one is a movie. It caught my attention because it stars Omar Sy, who's Lupin, of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a French
yeah,
movie.
yeah, French
Yes,
one's called The
Lupin.
Takedown, directed by the guy who did Lupin. I really enjoyed that show, and he did Now You See Me, which is ridiculous, but still
Okay.
an entertaining film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still an entertaining film. So
Mm-hmm.
he's behind it. So okay, it's a couple of cops, a kind of comedy action film. So I love
Mm-hmm.
Omar Sy. I think he's great. So I'm gonna check it out. Why not? It's a film. So this could be some entertaining value. So listen, so there's 10 things dropping this week. So wow. Yeah, like I said, I'm glad my Saturday is pretty clear next week. Doctor Strange Friday night and the rest. So yeah, we'll touch base on all this, and I think the following week things it remains busy. So a lot of stuff on the
Yes.
plate for you guys. So this is why you check us out. Let us see it first before you start diving into some of these shows because it's just a lot. If it was 3 or 4 shows, is one thing, but do 10 shows. That's the highest I've seen yet since we started doing this, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of just quantity of shows. So check us out. Sundays right here. Subscribe, comment, like, share the video. You want to tell your friends what should I watch on TV? This is what we're here for. Let us do the dirty work so you guys don't have to. Chewy, pleasure as always. We appreciate it. See you guys next week.
Peace.